It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
We as sports fans, we need to be better. We need to be better. And as a society, the madness in youth sports, in high school sports, it has to stop. It is Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. I am your host, Brady Farkas, and we're going to do this for the next hour. So earlier this week, a great Section 2 basketball game cut short because of unruly fans. With 42 seconds left on Tuesday night, the Albany High and Bethlehem High School girls were playing, and that's a marquee matchup in Class AA featuring two teams that have a chance to win the Section 2 championship. Bethlehem won it last year. Albany comes over from the Big Ten this year when it's disbands. They have a chance to challenge Shenendahowa and Bethlehem for Suburban Council supremacy. So with 42 seconds left, it's 59-53 Bethlehem. It looks like the Eagles are going to win the game. Albany High gets called for 2 technical fouls. And then at that point, all hell breaks loose. Okay, at that point, everything goes haywire. The game is ended, and police are called after an Albany High School fan throws a water bottle at the official, according to Jess Kohler of the Times-Union. So a water bottle was thrown at an official. Then fans are asked to leave, exit the building, and then the game is subsequently called. With 42 seconds left, that is an embarrassment for Section 2, and it really ruined what was, to that point, by all accounts, a great basketball game. Albany High coach Decky Lawson says, I guess the fan was upset about what was going on. We agreed that we didn't want anything else to happen that way. Now, Bethlehem, their coaches said they wanted to keep playing. They were advocating for the game to continue, but Albany High said that we don't want anything else to happen, and the game was called. 42 seconds left, a great Section 2 matchup ruined. And we as a society have gotten out of control. And look, I played high school sports. I played 2 of them. I know what it's like to get upset by calls or get upset at opponents. I know what that's about. My brother played high school sports for Shen. I know what it's like to not appreciate a hard foul on him that doesn't get called. I have coached summer baseball ages 14 through 16. I have coached college baseball at Hudson Valley Community College. I know what it's like to get on an umpire, but it never, ever should go to that point where your officials are being threatened and the police have to be called. And this isn't a referendum on Albany High School and its fans. This is a referendum on fans in general. I have been at several sporting events in which fans or parents are belligerent towards officials, towards coaches, towards opponents, and they are just downright inappropriate. I remember I was at a regional game. It was a regional basketball game. It was 2 years ago. It was at Hudson Valley Community College. I will not name the opponents or the teams in the game, but there was a fan who I have never seen a more obnoxious fan in my entire life for what this man was saying to players on the floor, to officials, to anyone who would listen. This guy was ruining the experience. We as fans, you as parents, I am not a parent, but you as parents, sports is about teaching your kids humility, respect, sportsmanship, how to win, how to lose. And they will not grow as people if they're subjected to watching us in the stands act in this manner. And it doesn't just happen here. It happens everywhere. I told you, I've seen it where I've coached. I've seen it when I've played. I've gotten on a ref or two about no calls in games I was watching, but never to the point where there's the threat of violence and that the game has to be called. And look, again, it doesn't happen everywhere, or it doesn't happen just here. It happens everywhere. A junior football league in Pennsylvania had to cancel its entire season after bullet casings with the names of league officials written on them were found in a local park. Bullet casings for league officials. Are we serious right now as a society that this is that we are so interested in living vicariously through our sons, our daughters, our brothers, our sisters, whatever, that it's going to go to physical violence and we're going to resort to that level? Unbelievable to me that this game between Albany High and Bethlehem was called with 42 seconds left on Tuesday night. And that was a great matchup in the Suburban Council featuring 2 great teams that could be there at the end. And parents, I know it. You put a lot of time into your kids' careers, and sometimes you put more into your kids' careers than your kids do. between the money that you spend for them to play, between the transportation costs, between the hotel visits, between the work sacrifices you make to get them to practice. I understand that you're invested and you want the game to be to look like you want it to look. I even sympathize with that. I empathize with that, and I understand. But we as a society have got to chill on how we act in the stands, because it's an embarrassment for Section 2. It's an embarrassment to Albany and Bethlehem, the two teams that were involved. It's an embarrassment to the players on the floor. The players on the floor, if that fan is related to me or is there to watch me play, that would be a huge embarrassment to me, and that's what that was, a giant black eye for Section 2 on Tuesday evening between Albany High and Bethlehem. It's Brady Farkas here, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. On a happier note, on the hardwood, Section 2 alums doing us proud. Jaleel Nails, Columbia High School graduate, now a freshman at Central Connecticut State University. And he, for the Blue Devils, is now getting some significant minutes after, the typical freshman go-around not getting a lot of time. Jaleel Nails now earning starts for Central Connecticut, and he joins us right now on Capital Region Sports Saturday. So, Jaleel, you get a career-high 18 points in your last game against Sacred Heart. That was coming off a previous career high of 13 against Fairleigh Dickinson. Starting to get a little more comfortable here and get a rhythm, huh?
Yeah, I'm finally finding my way in the offense and trying to do the best I can to provide what I need to get some wins right.
What has been the biggest adjustment for you going from high school ball to college ball?
Definitely the defense. You can't leave anybody open on the college end, and even on the offensive end, there's always a great defender coming to guard you. Like in high school, you could move around easier, but around in college, you get hit going to the basket or just cutting. You have to find ways to get open other than just being the best player on the floor.
You've got a couple of starts under your belt this year, some spotty starts, but you get your first start of the year early in the season, just your fourth college game. It's at Boston College, a team in the ACC. What was that like for you?
That was big. My coach told me I was going to start that game, see what I could do, and the atmosphere there was crazy. It was just fun playing against an ACC team. You never get to do that.
Not only did you play against BC out of the ACC, but you guys also recently played at UConn, the team that won the national championship just a few years ago. What was it like for you in that moment? I mean, did you take the time to kind of appreciate where you were? Like, wow, last year I was playing against Shenendahowa, and this year I'm playing at UConn.
Yeah, I mean, UConn have a few NBA prospects, so it was fun playing against, like, Danny Hamilton and Rodney Purvis, and going up against them and challenging them and them challenging you. So I just try to do my best and work hard just to go up against guys like that and a team like that was well coached.
It's Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. On the phone right now, Jaleel Nails, Central Connecticut freshman basketball player, former Columbia High School standout. And Jaleel, you were part of one of the more accomplished classes in Section 2 recent memory. Joe Cremo at Albany from Scotia, Joel Winkowski from Lake George at UMBC. What's it like for you to be a part of that class?
Just appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. I just try to stay humble. Like, Joe's a great player. He's doing great things at Albany, and Joel's doing good things at UMBC. That's why I got a couple starts. And those two played each other a couple of days ago. That was fun to watch on ESPN3.
What went into your decision to commit to Central Connecticut? What was it about the Blue Devils that made that a good fit for you?
I felt like I could get the most out of it, the most playing time, and try to make an immediate impact as soon as I came in. So I wanted to go somewhere where I knew I could work hard, stay low, and just try to make the best of my team.
Now, you were part of what I think was probably the most memorable Section 2 game in recent memory. I was there. I think it was at the Times Union Center. It was the Section 2 playoffs. It was you guys against, I want to say, Guilderland, and it was five overtimes, I believe. What do you remember about that game?
I remember I'm mad that we still lost 102-100, but that was probably the best game I ever played in high school, definitely. And it was tiring because obviously 5 overtimes I had to play in two overtimes since I hurt myself. But that game was great. Andrew Playtech, he was doing well for his team, and a lot of guys on my team stepped up. But even that game with all the overtimes, probably still not as tired as just one half in college basketball.
Columbia High School graduate Jaleel Nails with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. And Jaleel, you guys right now on the court not playing to the level that you want, just a 1-15 record, but you're getting into conference play, and that's really where you make your mark anyways. So how do you guys turn this around?
We're working on a lot of defensive practice. We need to get stops. Our scoring hasn't been that big of an issue. We have 3 guys in double figures, so we just need to get stops and stop runs as well. Because when teams go on runs in college basketball, that's how you win or lose a game.
Jaleel Nails, former Columbia basketball star, with us. Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. You had 18 points in your last game against Sacred Heart, a career high for you. Before that, you had your previous career high, which was 13 against Fairleigh Dickinson. So keep up the success here in 2016, and we'll be talking to you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Jaleel Nails. I remember that game, that Columbia and Guilderland game, like it was yesterday. I was at the Times Union Center. My brother was playing for Shen. It was the Section 2 Final Four, and Shen was playing Green Tech. And I think the games were supposed to be 6 and 8. And so the Columbia-Guilderland game just delayed the Shen Green Tech game all night long. I don't think it started until almost like 9:15 because just 5 overtimes. And as Jaleel alluded to, he was hurt in that game, so he was out after the second overtime, and man, just unbelievable game that was. That is definitely the best Section 2 game in recent memory that I can recall. If you have a Section 2 game that you think is better in recent memory, you can tweet me at 1045 Radio Brady. You can tweet us at 1045 The Team as well. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks to Jaleel Nails. And another Section 2 guy done good at the collegiate level, and there's a number of them right now, from Joe Cremo, Joel Winkowski to Colin Stewart at Monmouth. They get a huge win last night in the MAC over Iona. Javion Oganyemi leads Siena to a win last night as well. We'll talk about the Saints coming up at 9:45. High school hoops, so the kids that are still in high school. The kids that are still in high school last night, good games all around Section 2. Tyler Hall had 20 points as Maple Hill beats Greenville 68-61. Isaiah Moll, 14 points as Colony squeaks out a win over rival Shaker 48-46. And Saratoga, the Blue Streaks, they beat Bethlehem 67-63 behind 16 points from Adam Anderson and A.J. Skane. All those games on the boys' side. UAlbany, they lose their first conference game yesterday at Maine. Should they be worried? I'll tell you why not to be worried next.
It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
UAlbany men's basketball team sees its 7-game win streak end yesterday on the road at Maine. You as a fan should not be worried. The Great Danes will be just fine. UAlbany, though, they do lose 81-79 on the road at Maine. It's our first loss in conference after winning a couple of games early on in the America East schedule. Danes have won 3 consecutive America East championships, have been to 3 straight NCAA tournaments. Why you should not be worried if you're UAlbany is this. The game yesterday, although it's a loss at Maine just 6-14, now 2-2 in conference. That's not a good loss for UAlbany. It is not a good loss. I do not discount it. But it's also a bit of an anomaly because, look, the game is played because we're still on holiday break. The students aren't back yet at most universities, especially at UAlbany. They're definitely not back, and at Maine not back either as well, because they're playing a noon Friday game. Noon on Friday is an atypical start time. You talk about college athletes, the routine that is needed that these guys develop over a year, over 4 years, is not geared up to play a noon tip-off. So you have a 6.5-hour bus ride from Albany to Maine. 6.5 hours. So lengthy travel, odd start time, those right there are factors working against you. And UAlbany still only loses by 2. You look at on the floor, the game was an anomaly as well. Evan Singletary, one of the best point guards in the America East, will probably likely be all conference yet again this year in his second full season with the Great Danes since transferring in from a junior college. He goes just 4 of 16 from the floor. Now, he still scores 15 points, but he's not as efficient as he usually is to get that 16 points or to get that 15 points. 4 of 16 from the floor. Ray Sanders, a guy who's been leading you in scoring on several occasions over the last 2 weeks throughout this 7-game win streak. He's in foul trouble. He scores just 4 points. This will not happen every single night for UAlbany. So the Great Dane fans, have no fear. You need not be worried. What the key is now is how you respond to that first loss, how you overcome it. And UAlbany will play at Binghamton on Monday night at Sefcu Arena. That's a chance for them to get back on track against the Bearcats, and then this loss will be forgotten. Remember, UAlbany last year started out 10 or 11-0 in the league before finally suffering a loss. And the pressure was mounting all throughout the season of could they run the table in the America East. UAlbany, They don't need to run the table now. They don't need to worry about that. They can just continue to focus on playing good basketball as they have been. Again, they had won 7 straight since that loss to Siena in the Albany Cup. So an 81-79 loss on the road at Maine, but an atypical start time, noon tip-off, 6-hour-plus bus ride just to get there. It's an uncomfortable bus ride. And if you've played college athletics or just if you've driven a long way, you know it's hard to go out there and be at your peak performance level when you're dealing with conditions like that. It's Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer on the Capital Region. A team who had adverse conditions yesterday and still won RPI men's hockey. The Engineers, a 1-0 win over number 8, nationally ranked Cornell. They beat the Big Red. They do it at home. And RPI, I've told you all along that despite the fact that the Engineers haven't had a winning season in the last 2 years, that this team just feels different. This team just feels different. Yesterday, they get outshot by Cornell 44-16. And when you look at that and you say 44-16, Brady, they got lucky. Well, no. Good teams, there is a bit of luck, but you can't rely on luck. You can't just say that it's luck. RPI found a way to win despite not playing pretty. And Seth Apper, the head coach of RPI, the Engineers, he spoke to that after the game.
What I like tonight is that we found a way to win a game when we weren't our best. We were just okay. I thought they were very good, and they are a very good team. And we found a way to win. And it wasn't pretty, but we did find a way to block a lot of shots, found a way for Cassie to make some great saves. And, let's not kid ourselves. The biggest play of the game, no matter how many saves Cassie has, the biggest play of the game was a 5-on-3 penalty kill.
Jason Kasdorf, RPI goalie, had 44 saves. That's what Seth Apper alluded to when he says Cassie. But, look, it doesn't have to be a pretty win. It doesn't have to be a pretty win for it to be an impressive win. You're at home. You defend home ice. You beat the number 8 team in the country. You're coming off back-to-back losing seasons. You're now in second place in the ECAC. RPI 12-7-4 overall, 5-1-4 in league play. It's a win is a win, and now you're really getting into the brunt of your schedule, the main conference portion of your schedule. So if you're looking at it saying, "Oh, RPI got lucky because they were outshot 44-16," they still found a way to win. Seth Appert after the game as well. I completely agree with this statement.
Well, it's not a beauty contest.
There you go.
Well, it's not a beauty contest.
It is not a beauty contest. The win is the win. RPI found a way when they were not at their best to defend home ice, and that is what you have to do and knock you down, grind you out, ECAC conference. RPI now in second place, trying to come back off 2 consecutive losing seasons, trying to be a player in the ECAC at the end of the year. And again, this team just feels different. They do the little things. They block shots. They've won with 2 different goalies in the net this season. Jason Kasdorf, 44 saves. They've won with their backup in there as well. RPI is playing well. They are doing the things that good teams do. They're blocking shots. Seth Appert says it over and over and over again that the most miserable thing to do in hockey is block shots. And RPI focuses on it and does it willingly. They have the mindset. They have the mindset to change the culture in Troy, and they are doing so this season. Again, Jason Kasdorf, 44 saves in that win, standing on his head. Jason Kasdorf after the game on, hey, he likes being tested like this.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it makes me feel like I get into the game. I'm staying focused. Sometimes games where you don't get a lot of shots, it can be kind of hard to stay focused. But I like this because I know that my team's going to battle in front of me and clear rebounds, and I just basically got to worry about the first shot.
Jason Kasdorf, 44 saves. RPI, the 1-0 win over Cornell. On the other side of town in Schenectady, Union gives up 3 third-period goals. They lose to Colgate 4-2 for Union. They are now just 2-7-2 in league play. They're 9-8-5 overall, but 2-7-2 in your own league is not the way that you want to be going for the Dutchman. For the Dutchman, that national championship 2 years ago seems further away than that. Rick Bennett and his team need to find some answers here in the league. Still over 500 overall record, but in the league, just 2-7-2. 2 teams will switch tonight. They'll switch opponents, and RPI will be home against Colgate, while Cornell will travel to Schenectady to take on Union. Good news for Union. They did announce their new football coach. Remember, John Audino stepped aside, and there was a lot of speculation about whether he really stepped aside or whether he got Tom Coughlin and got forced out of Union. Dutchman went 0-10 this year. Well, the new man on the sidelines for Union is Jeff Berman. He'll take over for Audino, and Berman comes to Schenectady by way of Stony Brook, where he was the offensive coordinator for Stony Brook of the Colonial Athletic Association, same conference that Albany is in, so a Division I FCS mind will be at the helm of Union. He spent 10 years as the offensive coordinator, and it had his teams at Stony Brook put up good numbers as well. So if you're a Union fan, if you're a Union alumni, you're thinking about sending your kid to play at Union, you've got a guy who is good at the helm. During Berman's time with the Seawolves, he developed some outstanding quarterback play in 2013. His guy, Lyle Negrin, passed for over 2,300 yards, which was second in the program's D1 history. Then Kyle Essington's passing efficiency rating led all of FCS and ranks one of the best in the NCAA history for one season. Seawolves led FCS in scoring average in 2011 with 38 points a game. So Jeff Berman, he's the guy taking over at Union. Still don't like the way John Audino the way he stepped aside. Still don't like that. Still wish he had a chance to retain his program. But for the program going forward, Jeff Berman does appear to be a more than capable replacement. It is Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. I woke up this morning. It was snowing. It's now raining. It was cold. It was dreary. And then I thought to myself, 1 month till baseball season. 1 month till baseball season. Pitchers and catchers going to be reporting for all your teams around the major leagues. And one guy for Section 2, or one Section 2 alumni who's going to be reporting as well, Maple Hill graduate Jamie Schultz. Jamie Schultz, the Tampa Bay Rays system, a flamethrower. This kid is going to be in the majors. It may not be this year, but he's going to get there. Barring injury, he is going to get to the major leagues, and he's going to join the Brendan Harrises of the world, the Capital Region guys who have made it in professional baseball at the major league level. Jamie Schultz of the Rays system last year in Double-A with the Montgomery Biscuits. Love that name. Love that cap as well. Yesterday was National Cap Day. And for the Montgomery Biscuits, he led the Southern League in strikeouts. 168 Ks in 135 innings. This guy is dynamite on the mound. He was an all-star in the Southern League this year at Double-A. He was there the entire year. And Aaron Vargas, the broadcaster for the Montgomery Biscuits, he joined me back in June following the announcement that Jamie Schultz was going to be an all-star. And he told us exactly what had made him so good to that point and exactly what is going to get him to the majors.
The stuff that he brings out from, a fastball that we talked about before, sitting in 93, 94 and touching 96, 97, a curveball that gets a ton of swings and misses. And he's really impressed people from Rays and Biscuit staff to other teams in the Southern League. Really strong early on in the season. Hit some road bumps here or there, but really from the start of the first half to the finish, he's been one of the top pitchers in the league.
One of the top pitchers in the league, 168 strikeouts and 135 innings. The next highest strikeout total was 140. Jamie Schultz, Maple Hill graduate right here in the Capital Region, will be in the major leagues eventually. Question is whether it will be this year. The Rays have been notoriously slow in moving guys up. They've been methodical. But Schultz, I imagine he starts the year at AAA, and then we see what happens. We see where the Rays are. We see how he is doing in the Tampa Bay system. He's a guy who looks to be a starter, but could relieve. The only knock on Jamie Schultz has been his control at times. For as many strikeouts as he gets, he does walk a fair amount of guys as well, and therefore his pitch count gets driven up, and he did have a hard time making it consistently through 6 innings at the Double-A level last year. But Jamie Schultz has earned an invitation to Major League Spring Training for the Tampa Bay Rays. And if you're a Capital Region baseball fan, you should also have an eye on the Rays, because not only Jamie Schultz, but also Nick Unis, Garrett Whitley, the number 13 pick in the draft last year, he is also in the Rays system as well. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, where they truly try to give you the best customer service experience every time you're in there, because that is the biggest key. That is the key to any success. At Mohawk Honda, they try to do it right all the time for their entire family of customers, and yes, it really is a family. There's over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles available to select from. They're open extended hours in all their departments to better service you. You can shop over 10 acres of savings opportunities or go online 24/7 at MohawkHonda.com. And yes, they will provide you the lowest, no-hassle prices to better suit your budget. A business can have all of that, but without providing the customer with the professional service experience they've always been looking for and deserve, nothing else matters. They have over 180 trained automotive experts going above and beyond to make sure all of your needs are met. And seriously, when you go in there, you can ask their Mohawk Exchange specialist about their Mohawk Exchange program. Just ask Tiffany, Katie, or V-Day to see just how easy it is to exchange your vehicle for the same or lower payment. Shop their convenient Route 50 in Glenville location to join the #1 automotive family, where at Mohawk Honda, they always go out of their way to please you. NFL playoffs today, divisional round. When the Kansas City Chiefs step on the field in Foxborough, they'll be doing so with a piece of the Capital Region on their sideline. That piece joins us next.
It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
Yes, we are back, and we are on the phone with Brian Parker, Kansas City Chiefs tight end, former Albany standout. The Chiefs are in Foxborough taking on the Patriots today in the AFC divisional round, 4:35. You can watch that game on CBS. Brian, what's the mindset of you and your KC teammates as you head into the AFC's #2 seed?
I mean, we're ready. We're ready. Our mindset's pretty much the same as it has been over the last 10, 11 games that we've been winning. We got number 12 on the other side of the ball, and Belichick, who are obviously two of the greats, Hall of Famers. So we got to go in and just execute our game plan like we've been doing and minimize the penalties, take care of business, and look for 2 more games ahead of us.
What is the game plan going in? What have you guys seen on film that leads you to believe you can beat New England?
Well, they have good players on both sides of the ball. You get in the second round of playoffs. There's good players everywhere you go. But I don't think they're the best defense we've played. We played Denver twice, who has great defense. Green Bay was playing well when we played them. Vikings, Cincinnati. So we've played a lot of good defenses. So nothing we can't handle. We just need to execute our game plan, move the ball down the field, hold on to the ball. Patriots have been really good on defense at stripping the ball, so we need to hold on to the ball and force turnovers on defense, which we've been really good at this year.
Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your #1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. On the phone right now, Kansas City Chiefs tight end Brian Parker, former Albany standout. And Brian, you guys were 1-5 at one point. You've rattled off 11 straight wins heading into this matchup with the Patriots. What changed for you guys? Because the season could have gone even further south after losing Jamal Charles.
Yeah, it was tough early on because we were right there with a couple of teams that we lost to. So nothing really changed. We just kept doing what we know we could do, and things kind of started clicking for us as we went on and on. We got momentum and more confidence, which I guess is what we were lacking in those first 6 games without too many wins. But we just kept executing the same game plan that we had and doing our jobs, and we started clicking as an offense and started scoring a lot more points than we were early on.
I think it's kind of a universal known fact that you're going up against the best tight end in the game in Rob Gronkowski, but you also may have the guy who's right there with him on your own team in Travis Kelce. How big a role model has he been for you as you develop in the tight end position?
Yeah, Travis has been great. He's in his 3rd year, and he's in his 2nd year of playing on the field, and he acts like he's been in the league for a lot longer than that. So he's been great. It's been nice being in a room with a lot younger tight ends, closer to my age. When I was in San Diego, everyone was 7, 8 years older than me at least. So it's been good for me. It's been a good adjustment. And Travis is just he's going to the Pro Bowl for a reason. He's a leader on and off the field.
You guys beat Houston up pretty good in the wild card round of game. You guys won on the road. What were your emotions like there as you took the field for your first playoff game in your first season?
It was crazy. I mean, it wasn't too much different than a normal game because every game walk on the field. It's an unbelievable experience. But the playoff game was awesome. The opening kickoff, towels were flaring all over the place. Houston fans, and we returned it back. And that was the last time they had the towels in the air, and we just kind of rolled from there. It was a great, it was a fun time from front to end. Walking off the field with all our Chiefs fans down in Houston, cheering us till we all left was great.
Former Albany tight end Brian Parker with us. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda. Current tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs are taking on the Patriots this afternoon. Brian, the last year, you're at Albany, the NFL draft, you go undrafted, then you're with San Diego. Now you're with Kansas City. Have you thought about how crazy the last year has been for you?
Yeah, you're telling me. It's, I don't think about it that often because I've been so focused on, just getting the job done day by day. But when I do look back, I think it's how much has happened in the matter of a year. A year ago I was training, not knowing what was going to happen. Then I end up in San Diego in May and trying to make my spot, just continue playing football, practice squad or on the team, and end up finding myself in a playing role in Kansas City. And it's just been a crazy experience, but, it's meant to be.
What does it mean to you to have come from a school like Albany, an FCS program, not a hugely named program, a program that's really kind of on the build here with Greg Gattuso? What does it mean for you to have come from a small school like Albany?
Well, for me personally, it helps my mentality a lot because the difference between guys who are drafted from bigger schools and who have been big names for a while that are supposed to make it, they kind of tend to have a different mentality a lot of times than guys from smaller schools. So not only has it been good for Albany, but it's cool for me because I'm always thinking, and I never know what's going to happen, and I always got to maintain focus and act like I'm an undrafted player because I am, and I got to earn my spot and my role on this team every day.
Kansas City Chiefs tight end Brian Parker, former Albany standout with us. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. Brian, best of luck to you and the Kansas City Chiefs. You take on the Patriots today, 4:35. We'll watch that game on CBS. We're all happy for you back in the Capital Region. Good luck.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Brian Parker, there he goes, joining us here for a few minutes here today. Patriots hosting his Kansas City Chiefs, and what a cool story, to see a guy. You don't see too many guys from FCS make it, but we really don't see too many guys from Albany make it. I believe he's the first Albany player ever to play in the playoffs, third player to play in a regular season game. So Brian Parker and the Chiefs going into Foxborough to take on the reigning Super Bowl champions. How will they do? Well, I give you my NFL predictions, and that means that we have to cue the music, NFL film style, here on Capital Region Sports Saturday. My predictions for this weekend's NFL playoff games: Chiefs at Patriots today, 4:35. The Chiefs have won 11 straight. The Pats are getting healthy, though. Julian Edelman will play. Danny Amendola will play. The Pats are getting healthy. This has been a weird week, though, for the Patriots. They had the weird Chandler Jones saga with the synthetic marijuana. Bill Belichick shows up at practice with a black eye. We've got Rob Gronkowski going to the hospital, getting an injection in his knee. I think this game will be close. I think the Chiefs will score more points than you would expect them to. I think Alex Smith does a good job. I think they limit turnovers. I think they do pressure Tom Brady. I think it's an ugly game if you're a Patriots fan. But in the end, I think the Patriots do get the win, and I think they do it by the final score of 21-16. I think they just hold off a late Chiefs rally. Late game tonight, Packers at Cardinals on the NFC side. The Cardinals beat the Pack 38-8 just a few weeks ago. It will not be a repeat of that beatdown today. The Packers look much better against the Redskins. The Cardinals pass rush will get to Aaron Rodgers. They sacked him 8 times in that game. They will get to him again. Devontae Adams out for the Packers really limits the receiving game. I think the factors are working against the Packers. The injuries are working against the Packers. No Tyrann Mathieu in this matchup, out for the season for Arizona. I think the Cardinals win it 31-23. Music set to run out. Well, you know what? It's so nice. We're going to hear it twice. We get the music back up here. First game tomorrow, early game, Seahawks at Panthers. Seahawks reigning two-time NFC champions going into the new kid on the block, Carolina, 15-1 for the Panthers this year. They've had the bye week to get healthy. Jonathan Stewart will play. Ted Ginn will play for Carolina. The MVP, in all likelihood, Cam Newton, he'll be on the field as well. Seahawks, by all accounts, are lucky to be here, advancing only by the skin of their teeth thanks to a missed Blair Walsh field goal in the wild card round against Minnesota. Marshawn Lynch is back for Seattle. I think the Seahawks, the experience, the playoff experience, the fight of a champion, they don't want to go out just yet. I think the Seahawks go into Carolina and win barely. Russell Wilson does just enough to get the Seahawks over the hump. They beat Carolina 17-13. Cam Newton will not play great. He's still the MVP of the league, in my opinion. Steelers at Broncos. I said it 3 weeks ago. The Steelers are the biggest threat to New England in the AFC. They would be if they were healthy. Ben Roethlisberger, banged up. Looks like he will play, but he really, as of yesterday, he had thrown 5 passes in 5 days with that injured shoulder. D'Angelo Williams led their team in rushing, out for this season. 11 touchdowns gone for Pittsburgh. Antonio Brown, arguably the best receiver in the league. He will not play as well. First time in NFL history a team has played a playoff game without their leading rusher and their leading receiver. Peyton Manning will be back. He won't look super great for Denver either. I think this is a low-scoring game as well. Broncos will win it 22-13. Big Ben will fight hard, but the Steelers will go down, and the Broncos will advance to meet the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Those are my predictions for the NFL playoffs this weekend. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. We were just on the phone with Brian Parker, former UAlbany football player, and now we switch gears back to UAlbany Hoop, and Peter Hooley is having among the most bizarre seasons I have ever seen. Peter Hooley is a guy who's got over 1,000 points. He's a top 5 scorer in program history at UAlbany. He has been an extremely valuable piece to their 3 consecutive America East championships and 3 consecutive trips to the NCAA tournament. But this season, Peter Hooley has just been so spotty, and it's so odd to see the lack of consistency from a player of his caliber. Peter Hooley has games this year. He scored 18 points on opening night against Kentucky. So he got 18 points against the Wildcats, and he followed it up with a 15-point game. He's got a 20-point game against Holy Cross. He's got a 20-point game against Siena. He had 29 yesterday in the loss against Maine. So Peter Hooley, those games are evidence to you that he's got what it takes to continue to be that scorer that he has been over his first 3 years at UAlbany. But he also has games where he has scored 9, 7, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 9, 5 in conference play. UMBC 9, Vermont 9, UNH 5, Maine 29. Peter Hooley is playing extremely inconsistent, and that is a guy that we all root for. We remember his story last year. His mom dies. He leaves the team for a month. He comes back. He hits the storybook shot, sends the Danes to the tournament against, beat Stony Brook in the America East tournament with the great shot. He's a kid we all root for. He's a guy we all like. We've had him on this show. We've had him with Levac. Weekdays 3 to 7. So Peter Hooley's a guy we like, but his play is just extremely tough to figure out. His shooting percentages are extremely low. I mean, 3 of 14, 3 of 8, 3 of 11, 2 for 6, 1 for 6, 2 for 10, 3 for 9, 2 for 10, 2 for 10, 4 for 12, 4 for 13, 1 for 5. Those are the games that Peter Hooley has not shot all that well. It has been a lot of them from 3-point range. Peter Hooley at one point this year was at 14%. So Peter Hooley's still got over 1,000 points. He is still one of the top players in UAlbany history. But if the Danes are going to advance to the NCAA tournament for a 4th straight year, they're going to need the Peter Hooley who's able to score between 15 and the 29 he had yesterday. You don't ask a kid to score 29 a game, but they need the Peter Hooley that can score 15 and can be consistent, not turn the ball over, and can be efficient with his shot. I told you earlier not to worry about UAlbany and that loss yesterday. Peter Hooley getting more consistent is something to keep your eye on. They need him. Hopefully, yesterday's 29-point game will trigger that consistency that they need. It is Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. And again, at Mohawk Honda, just go in, ask them about their Mohawk Exchange program. Find Tiffany, Katie, or Vide. Ask them just how easy it is to upgrade your current vehicle to a newer one with no money down for the same or lower payment. And they'll tell you it's easy to exchange your vehicle for the same or lower payment. If new isn't for you, they inventory over 300 of the highest quality pre-owned vehicles, all at one low, below market value, no hassle price. Being number one, it isn't easy. You see all these sport teams trying to get to number one. It's not easy. But in Mohawk Honda, they treat their customers with respect and have been doing it for almost 100 years. That's 4 generations of the Harridan family serving the Capital Region proudly. Shop their convenient Route 50 in Glenville location, because at Mohawk Honda, they always go out of their way to please you. I told you today not to worry about UAlbany. I've been telling you for 2 weeks to not worry about Siena. They proved me right again yesterday. That's next.
It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
Siena men's basketball team does something it hasn't done a lot of this season. They do it yesterday. They get a road win. Saints now 2-6 on the road this season. They beat Quinnipiac yesterday in MAC play. Saints 2-6 on the road. They get the win. Brett Bisping, star forward/center, talked about it after the game.
Yeah, I mean, we needed a road win. We hadn't had one in a long time, and the coaches were really emphasizing it. We had a tough but good week of practice leading into this, and we were ready to go.
Saints beat Quinnipiac 64-52. MAC play. Saints now 4-2, 11-6 overall. Remember, they don't have Marquise Wright, Brady. How are they going to tread water? Well, they're treading water. They're doing it. Siena has won. Let's see. They beat Quinnipiac. They've beaten, they beat Quinnipiac. They beat Fairfield, and they lose a triple overtime game against Manhattan, and they beat Niagara. They're 3-1 without Marquise Wright, who's arguably one of the best players in the nation. One of the best players in the MAC for sure. But remember, he was putting up numbers that no one else in the nation was putting up before he got injured. One of 4 players to have 17 points, 5 assists, 4 boards, 2 steals, was one of only 4 players in the country to do that. Siena without him until at least the middle of February. If they can just tread water, as I told you, and they are doing that right now, if they can tread water without him, then they can step into the MAC tournament and be a real threat to at least make it interesting. And the MAC is very, very good, as evidenced by the Monmouth-Iona game yesterday, which was 120-113 in favor of Monmouth. Monmouth is going to come and bring their crazy bench celebrations to the Times Union Center within the next month. So Siena 11-6, they get the big road win, and they get 18 points from Brett Bisping. And Bisping wasn't sure he was going to play because of a bad back. He had back spasm, and he credited the Siena training staff with getting him ready all throughout the day.
I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to come out the second half, but I just kept working with Greg, Dashna, our trainer, and he's been working with me all day.
Worked with him all day. Siena, the big win on the road at Quinnipiac, and Jimmy Patsos, leave it to him. Always the comedian after the game. He said that his exchange with Brett Bisping said this, that if Brett Bisping told him that, Coach, I can't sit, I have to play. If you put me in, don't take me out. And here's what Jimmy Patsos said about that story after the game.
Just said, I want to try, and then it hurt in the first half. In the second half, he said, if you put me in and don't take me out, I can play. I said, well, looks like you're in until you foul out.
You're in until you foul out. Jimmy Patsos, always the comedian after the game. Saints, the big win. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number 1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. Shout out to the Siena women. They win last night as well. Now 7-0 in league play. They are atop the MAC standings as well. Big game on the women's side for Albany today. They take on Maine, Sefke Arena, that game at noon. And we are joined right now by Sharisa Richards, the star of the Albany team. She scored her 2,000th point last week against Vermont.
Yeah, it definitely is, but it just shows how much hard work I've put in, and everybody who has accomplished this milestone has put in, and just, a testament to the coaches and their help that they've given me and my teammates to reach this milestone. So it is a lot of buckets, but it's a great accomplishment.
How has your game changed over now 3.5, 4 years? It looks like you're taking more jumpers this year, but how has your game evolved over your time at Albany?
It has evolved in so many different ways, to be honest. Like the first 2 or 3 years, Coach was like, I'm going to try to move you to the 3, and, but then it never happened. I always end up staying in the post, doing post move, and, getting better at that. And then, over the last 2 years, he's had me extending my game, work on something each year. So, like, my junior year, well, not my junior year, pretty much my sophomore year going into my junior year, I worked on, 15-footers and maybe 1 and 2 threes here. And then this year, I definitely worked on a lot of threes, taking threes. So now I have the privilege to take 1 or 2 threes here in the games, which is awesome because it extends my game. I don't have to stay on the block and get triple and double team. So it has just evolved in many ways. Dribbling, it will get better, but, that's still not my strong point. But other than that, everything else has changed. The way I move, where I shoot, my shot selection, just everything.
Albany basketball star Sharisa Richards with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number 1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. Sharisa, you guys taking on Maine today, but earlier in the year, you guys played at Tennessee, and I was told you were the best player on the floor in that game. What does that mean to you to hear that you're the best player on the floor against Tennessee, which is one of the top programs in the women's game?
I mean, it's a great feeling to know that people think that and can say that, but just because, I'm not going to say I'm the best player ever, but I do work my best to try to be up there with everyone that play at such a high level. You know, everybody look at Tennessee as one of the higher level teams that pretty much can run with UConn or Stanford or Notre Dame, and to be up there with them in that category of being one of the best players, it's a great feeling, you know, knowing that I can play with them. I can even play for Tennessee if I really wanted to. So it's a great feeling to just have that.
You guys are 12-3. You've got a big early season contest in conference, a big test today. That game at noon, you guys are playing in Maine. They beat you last year. They're one of the only teams that can really contend with you in the America East. How do you guys beat the Black Bears this afternoon?
Just got to focus on defense, since that's the main thing that coaches has been focusing on. And if we don't lock down on our defense, that's definitely what's going to get us. But, you know, it's up to us. We're normally the one who beat ourselves, to be honest, because I think some people get wigged out or something, but, you know, but I'll be ready. I'll be ready to fire my team up. We'll be ready to go. And just, like I said, we just got to focus on defense.
I had somebody reach out to me on Twitter a few weeks ago, and I think he said, Brady, you got to get Teresa on your show because I've got a young daughter, and she's a great role model for young girls basketball players. Have you thought about that? Like, people are coming out to watch you play solely because you are a role model for young players around Albany and just young basketball fans that are girls.
Yeah, I've thought about that, and I absolutely love that young people look up to me. Like, younger girls look up to me, and I can actually inspire someone to actually want to be something. So I think that's a great thing to have young girls look up to you and be like, oh, I want to be like her someday, or I can play basketball someday, or be something more than just a basketball player. It's a great feeling. Just like the other day when I was about to score my 2,000 point, and this little girl came, she said she wanted to come to the game for her birthday. She actually came to the game for her birthday, and it was just, I felt so happy and proud to know that she chose to come to the game for her birthday just to watch me play. It meant so much to me.
New Albany women's basketball star Sharissa Richards with us on Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. And Sharissa, everyone wants to know what your plans are post Albany. There's been a lot of talk about maybe you going to the WNBA. Is that a goal of yours?
Well, I'm definitely looking at the WNBA or to play overseas. If not, still want to apply for grad school. And just kind of like see where things take me, you know? That's pretty much it.
Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda. On the phone, Albany star Sharissa Richards. Danes with a huge early season conference test against Maine. Tip-off is in just over 2 hours. That game at Sefco Arena. I will be there. Sharissa, best of luck today and the rest of the way. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Sharissa Richards, two-time reigning America East Player of the Year, well on her way to a third straight Conference Player of the Year honor. 2,000 career points. She gets it last weekend at home against Vermont, so it's 2,000 and counting at this point. The Danes, a big test against Maine today. If you haven't seen Sharissa Richards go out and play, I recommend that you do so. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda. Again, recapping the show, my NFL picks for the weekend. Patriots over the Chiefs, 21-16. Packers losing to the Cardinals 31-23, Seahawks over the Panthers 17-13, and Denver beating Pittsburgh 22-13. Levac will be back on Monday to break down all the playoff action. Myself, Levac, and producer Gaz, we will be up at Saratoga Strike Zone tonight. We're giving away a trip to the Super Bowl. We're getting 2 more qualifiers, the Bud Light Super Bowl send-off. We will be there 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and we'll give away the trip to the Super Bowl. Until next week, 9 to 10 a.m., all the local sports you coverage. We'll see you next week. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda and 104.5 The Team.